This is Islamabad, Pakistan. When you stand on this land, you are standing on a mineral treasure worth $8 trillion. Copper, gold, lithium, the key resources here are incredibly rich, and the total area is estimated to be more than 230,000 square miles. What does this mean? It is equivalent to the size of 2 United Kingdoms. Islamabad has long been showing off its wealth to the world in an attempt to attract overseas investment. But strangely, after so many years, few investors dare to invest. But now, this $8 trillion mineral treasure has attracted the attention of the Trump administration, which hopes to reach some in-depth cooperation with Pakistan. But the question is, why has no one dared to invest in such rich resources? Does the United States really want to cooperate this time, or does it have other intentions? Can Pakistan mine minerals on a large scale? If you like our video content, please click to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can receive all our latest video content. Now, let's get into today's topic. From a geographical point of view, Pakistan's mineral resources are mainly concentrated in the two regions of Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Balochistan is famous for its rich copper and gold deposits, especially the Kodak copper and gold mine, which can be said to be one of the representatives of Pakistan's mining industry. The proven reserves of the Kodak mine are as high as 5.6 billion tons of ore, and it is expected that 22 million tons of copper and 13 million ounces of gold can be mined. But the region with the richest mineral resources is Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. The province's mineral resources are mainly coal, but also include some other mineral resources. The mineral reserves of Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa together account for more than 80% of Pakistan's total mineral reserves. Theoretically, these regions are so rich in mineral resources that they should attract a large amount of foreign investment. But unfortunately, in the past few decades, almost no foreign companies have chosen to invest here. Generally speaking, a good project can always attract global visionary investment, but the premise is to ensure that the project can operate in a safe environment. However, the two provinces with the most minerals happen to be the places with the worst security environment in Pakistan, and Pakistan currently has no good way to solve this problem. Balochistan has always had separatist armed activities, and the targets of the Balochistan Liberation Army are usually large-scale infrastructure construction and foreign-funded projects. Between 2023 and 2024, the number of attacks launched by this insurgent group increased by 119%. They firmly disapprove of foreign countries digging resources in the local area, thinking that this is robbing the interests of the Baloch people. By 2025, the security situation has not improved. In February alone, there were 54 terrorist attacks in Pakistan, 53 of which occurred in Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Frequent terrorist attacks are a big trouble for any mining investment. In addition to security risks, Pakistan's infrastructure itself is also quite imperfect. A series of mining operations from mining to refining require a lot of electricity, but Pakistan has always been short of electricity. The per capita electricity consumption is only about 500 degrees, far lower than the global average of 3,000 degrees. There is also about 40% of the places without electricity, so there is no surplus electricity for the mining industry. Barrick Gold is one of the world's largest gold producers, but the company's senior management has publicly stated that Pakistan's electricity supply is expensive and unstable, and the cost of security burns about $1 billion a year, which will put great pressure on the profits of mining projects. Of course, although Pakistan's minerals can be successfully mined, there are still problems with transportation. At present, most of Pakistan's major mining areas are in remote mountainous areas. Even if the precious ore can be mined, it is particularly difficult to pull it to the mountain road to the port exit. At the same time, because there are often armed patrols on the road through the port, those truck drivers who take risks usually need expensive transportation fees, and there is no guarantee that they can pass this road safely. Under the influence of these various factors, no foreign-funded enterprises dare to contract the mining areas in these two provinces. But now, Trump is interested in Pakistan's $8 trillion worth of minerals. What is going on? At present, the Pentagon's military production line is facing a supply crisis. 90% of rare earths rely on China's supply chain, and national defense reserves can only support 3 months. When China controlled 69% of the world's rare earth mining and 44% of copper smelting, the United States found that even the copper wires for missiles had to depend on China. In addition to the military industry, some American companies also need a lot of lithium to make electric car batteries. This metal is the core material of electric car batteries. Without its help, electric cars are left with only an empty shell. This is undoubtedly a fatal blow to American companies' occupation of the global electric car market. In order to get rid of its dependence on China's mineral resources, the United States has previously tried to establish its own mineral and soil industry chain, but in the end, without exception, it failed. Until June this year, the United States brought a technical team to Islamabad, the capital of Pakistan, to attend a mineral investment forum held there. After several hours of negotiations, neither side was willing to give in. Pakistan has always been unwilling to give in on its mineral interests, and the United States also wants to take over this mineral project at a very low price. In the end, Trump directly hit Pakistan with a 29% punitive tariff on the grounds that it had a trade surplus of $3 billion with the United States. However, not long after, the U.S. government hinted that Pakistan's key minerals could be exempted from tariff penalties in order to tempt Pakistan to reach a mineral agreement with the United States. Currently, Pakistan is struggling under the pressure of a $130 billion foreign debt. The IMF's loan conditions are getting tighter and tighter, but the mining industry only contributes 3.2% of GDP. In desperation, Pakistan can only agree to the U.S.'s request and use 30% of the shares of the Kodak mine in exchange for the U.S.'s exemption of 29% punitive tariffs. At the same time, Pakistan also handed over a resources for preferential treatment plan to the United States. American companies can jointly develop the Balochistan copper mine, and the Pakistani government will take care of a full set of corporate convenience services, such as leasing licenses and tax exemptions. But as we said before, mining in Pakistan will be affected by factors such as security and infrastructure. So, Americans really want to cooperate with Pakistan this time, or does it have other intentions? In my opinion, although the United States has reached a preliminary cooperation agreement with Pakistan, American companies are most concerned about the risks of investing and the money they can earn. Pakistan's current infrastructure and legal environment are not stable, and in 2023, a militant group belonging to Balochistan province launched 5 consecutive attacks on large Chinese industries within 3 months. This makes most American companies hesitant to invest. So according to the current situation in Pakistan, American companies may invest money in some less risky mining projects. If the effect is good, they will consider increasing investment funds. In order to ensure the smooth development of minerals, American companies may ask the Pakistani government to provide more security and policy support. Furthermore, the United States is likely to find ways to bring its own security team into the mining areas in Pakistan to safeguard the development of American companies' mining projects. But it is worth noting that although all the plans of the United States are very comprehensive, it also needs China's consent to transport the minerals out continuously. Why is this? For a country like Pakistan that is rich in inland resources but has underdeveloped transportation infrastructure, if it wants to transport a large amount of mineral resources, the best way is not by rail or road, but by seaport. At this point, Gwadar is undoubtedly the most important trump card in Pakistan's hand. This port is located in Balochistan province in southwestern Pakistan, and its geographical location is extremely critical. It is only 120 kilometers away from the Iranian border and is adjacent to the Gulf of Oman, which is the only outlet from the Persian Gulf. From the Persian Gulf through the Strait of Hormuz and then into the Indian Ocean, almost all oil transportation in the Middle East must pass through this channel. But you may not know that this port was not built by Pakistan itself. It took Chinese companies 14 years to build it brick by brick and put into operation. More importantly, according to the long-term agreement signed between China and Pakistan, China also has the right to lease the port for 43 years. That is to say, although the port is in Pakistan, the actual operation and management rights are in China's hands. Now, the problem is that the United States has invested heavily in the development of Pakistan's recoated gold and copper mines. If these minerals are to be exported on a large scale in the future, the fastest and most cost-effective route is to ship them out by sea through Gwadar. But the premise of using this channel is that China has to nod its head. But in the past 6 months, the United States has continuously taken the initiative to challenge disputes with China, from trade wars to chip wars, to competition in the field of new energy. In this case, it is completely reasonable if China does not agree to the export of American goods through Gwadar. And we have also mentioned that China currently has a technological advantage of 44% of the world's copper smelting capacity. Even if the United States can transport copper ore out, it needs to transport these resources to China for secondary processing. If the United States does not ask China to refine it, and it insists on building a mineral processing chain on its own, the huge cost may swallow up more than half of its profits. As early as 2020 to now, in order to get rid of China's smelting, the United States has spent $439 million to restart domestic rare earth mining, but encountered technical difficulties at the Mountain Pass mine. In the end, the only rare earth mine in the United States, the impurities of the ore mined were as high as 30%, and the refined purity was always stuck at 99.5%, which is almost a whole generation of technology away from China's 99.99% industrial standard. And this is also the biggest headache for the United States. We can predict that there is no so-called winner in this mineral game. The United States wants to reduce its dependence on China through Pakistan's strategic resources. However, China cannot watch the success of this plan of the United States. Even in the face of the U.S. tariff war, it will still take action to prevent the cooperation between the United States and Pakistan. For Pakistan, the more it relies on the minerals of the two provinces, the more it will be attacked by local militants, further undermining Pakistan's economic development. So, do you think the United States and Pakistan can cooperate in the long run? To not miss out on our future projects and news updates, please make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. We will continue to provide you with more exciting and interesting content.